Hey guys, welcome to 44's channel. If this is the first time you've been here, hello, my name is Jess. I'm a life coach and I make videos on topics within personal development. So as you can see from the title, this video is part of the series Think and Grow Rich, which I started. Think and Grow Rich is a book written by Napoleon Hill. It's a book that's mentioned quite often in the personal development sphere. And it's funny because I've actually seen quite a few people reading it lately. Like, it's funny when what I notice is when I get into a book, I notice other people are also all reading this book. So it seems like something that everyone's reading lately. I don't know if they were reading it in the past, but yeah. So basically it's about, well, this man, Napoleon Hill, studied 500 men and then he's put together 14 principles that he believes made these men financially successful. And it is quite, I'd say, outdated in its examples, but I feel like the principles are still something that we can learn and that we can learn from and reflect on and see if they apply to us. So today's episode is on specialized knowledge, which is the fourth principle. And let's get into what exactly specialized knowledge is. So there are two types of knowledge. You get general knowledge and then you get specialized knowledge. So just to explain the difference between them, general knowledge would be broad knowledge. So I don't know if you ever did, I know like in our school we did these general knowledge tests and it was 100 questions and it's just lots of questions on different subjects. So a bit on art, a bit on music, a bit on biology, a bit on science, a bit on maths. Just like a bunch of like little questions, well, like questions on like different topics. So general knowledge is like a very broad knowledge. So do you know a little bit about science? Do you know a little bit about maths? Do you know a little bit about this, that? And I know like at school for me, I'm pretty sure for everyone, like you get forced to take lots of subjects. And then as you go along, you get to cut some of those subjects down and specialize. So that brings us into specialized knowledge. Specialized knowledge would be like going deeper into a particular subject. So example, well, I studied economics at university, so that would maybe be like, in the beginning it was like a general, broad type of thing. And then as we went deeper, we started studying more specific things. So like development economics, and then within development economics is like poverty and education, and then probably like deeper within there's more specialized things. So that's the difference between general and specialized knowledge. So general is like very broad, and then specialized would be like going deeply into something. So Napoleon Hill says that specialized knowledge is only as useful as what you can do with it. So it's kind of interesting when I was reading this, because he wrote this in, I think, around 1934, and that was when they didn't have access to a lot of technology, so they didn't have the internet like we do today. But he was busy saying, he was speaking about Ford and how, I can't remember the exact details, but Ford was getting questioned by a bunch of people who thought that he was ignorant, and they were asking him lots of general knowledge types of questions and things about politics and like how many people were in this war. They were asking questions like that and he didn't know the answers. And then he said to them, well, I can just click a button and get one of my people who work for me to answer these questions for me. So he was saying that, yes, I don't have the answers in my head, but I know how to get those answers. And everyone was surprised by that, and they realized like, oh, that's actually quite a wise reply, because just because that those answers aren't in his head, he still knows how to get those answers. He has resources. So I was just saying that that's quite interesting, because then they didn't have internet and now we do have internet. And I'd say that the internet is a big example of a place with just tons of specialized knowledge, tons of knowledge, which we can just tap into. And this leads to things I've always thought about the current education system. I think that the current education system is a bit redundant, because a lot of it is focused on memorization. Here you go, like, learn the textbook, just learn everything off by heart, and then we'll test you on that. And I've never understood that, because I'm like, in the real world, you can just go onto Google and find the answers. So why should I learn things off by heart when I can just look on Google and get the answers? Because I feel like technology these days acts as a storage base for knowledge. Like it's impossible for most people to learn every single thing. I mean, I know there's some people who probably do dedicate their whole lives to memorizing everything, but it just makes more sense to store knowledge in other things. And now we have that. We have technology. Technology serves us in that it's a storage device for knowledge. And then the current education system still focuses on like, learn everything. And I'm like, but that's not really helping, because we don't actually have to learn everything. We should more be learning skills and what to do with that knowledge. So that's what Napoleon Hill speaks about. He says that specialized knowledge is useful and helpful when we know how to organize it and to do something with it to make money. So instead of just knowing, for example, that people mostly go on Instagram at 7 o'clock on Friday. I don't know if this is the case, I'm just making it up, so don't quote this. But instead of just knowing that, now we need to know how to actually apply that. So like, oh yeah, so what? Like, what are we going to do with that information? What you should do with that information is to post things on Friday at 7 o'clock, because that's when people are going to be on Instagram. But if you just have that knowledge in your head and you're like, then what's honestly the point of having that knowledge? So that's what Napoleon Hill's saying, is like, there's no points. I mean, even with the questions they were asking Ford, I can't remember the exact questions, but it was like, how many people entered this war? Like, what's the point of knowing that information? Unless you're genuinely curious. But if you aren't doing anything with that information, then why bother to have that information? And it's like when we all go to university and we all, or school or whatever, and like we study a degree, like that's what I always find, like, oh, like just study this. And I'm like, what are we doing with this exactly? Like, what's the point of me learning this? Like, things to me only really seem relevant if we're doing something with it. And that's like what Napoleon Hill's saying. And he's saying that true education isn't in knowledge, it's what you're doing with that knowledge where the education comes in. And then Napoleon Hill also speaks about how education is a continuous thing. So don't just think that because like some people feel like school and university are the only places where you can learn. And that's just not true. You can continue learning throughout your life and learning specialized knowledge and different things that can help you grow whatever field that you're in or whatever you want to pursue. And then with regards to the tons and tons of information out there and knowledge and how we can't hold all of that knowledge, Napoleon Hill says that it's really important to surround yourself with experts and people who do know. And I think maybe that's where the ego can come in, where we're like, oh, we have to know everything, we can't ask for help. But at the end of the day, you can't learn everything. You have to dedicate your time to something more specific. If you want to become really good at something, you can't like only have a broad outline of everything. It helps to be specific, to know specific knowledge about something. So example, if you have a business, let's just say a life coaching business, and you have a lot of specialized knowledge on coaching and your particular clients, there are other parts of a business which are also important, and that's where it helps to know other people and to network with other people and to hear what they have to say, because those people may have a passion in those other fields which you don't know about, and they can really help you. So example, like you're very into like coaching, you know about that, but in a business you need to know about sales, you need to know about marketing, you need to know about finance and tons of other different things. And so that's where it helps to speak to, example, someone who's very good at marketing or someone who's very good at sales, and try either delegate or get them to do the work, because especially if that's their passion and something they love, or some, maybe you hate sales and it's like drains you, you really like the coaching element. So that's just where it helps to network and to not just do things in isolation. And then finally, Napoleon Hill says that ideas and imagination are more important than specialized knowledge, and how you have to use all of them together. So let's just say that you really knew a lot about dogs. You love dogs, you grew up with dogs, you know everything there is to know about dogs. if you just have this information and you don't do anything with it, like, cool, it's good to have that knowledge, and I'm sure you have a connection with dogs, which, I mean, I personally love dogs, and I'm happy just like loving dogs and knowing a few things about dogs. I'm not like planning on doing anything with that. But if you want to make money out of dogs and that, you can't just know about dogs. You need to have imagination and an idea. So, example, maybe one day you're busy thinking and then you get an idea, oh, I'm going to start a hotel for dogs. I remember my friend and I used to go away, I think it was when I was in about grade 3, and then we had this hotel for cats, because the cats would always come into our like chalet, and we literally had like a whole pamphlet. We had like hotel for cats, we had like registration and paying and spa treatment, so we had all of it. It was crazy. Anyway, so and there's that movie, Hotel for Dogs. Okay, anyway, so you got this idea, maybe you're watching the movie Hotel for Dogs and you're like, oh, that's a good idea, I should do that. And then you use your information about dogs in order to do that, and then you would probably have to get other specialized knowledge on, like, how do I start a business, where do I get premises, what are the laws with regards to this, all of that information. So you would have to get more specialized knowledge on those different things. But you're not just getting knowledge for the sake of getting knowledge. You're getting knowledge to use it and to organize that knowledge and create something, which is a business. So yeah, so he does say that imagination and ideas need to go alongside specialized knowledge when you want to make money, or like do something with it if you want to move forward with that knowledge. So yeah, I hope that makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. Comment down below what you think about specialized knowledge, and actually what you think about the current education system. I currently think, well, I don't know if it's changed, but definitely when I was at school, I didn't really understand, as I was saying in the beginning, why it was just like learning, and I could just go home and look on the internet. It just felt like we were just doing a bunch of stuff and we weren't doing anything with that. Like, we weren't solving problems. It was just like learn this, but we're not going to solve any of the problems in the world, or we're not going to do anything with this. And I feel like that was a skill that is not being taught in schools. And what I find quite sad is that Napoleon Hill was pointing out these things in his education system when he was around, so like 1930s. And it's so sad that I still look at it and I'm like, that's the exact same. Like, we still just have education. It's almost like I feel like we have education systems for the sake of it, but no one's really sat down and been like, what is the actual point of having a school? Like, what are we actually aiming to get out of school? Because right now it's just like certificates and degrees, as opposed to like actual skills, or like what are we actually going to do with that? So yeah, I think maybe like school education systems need a whole new refurnishment, if I could put it that way. It needs to be changed, in my opinion, and just utilized better, so that we get something out of it that's actually beneficial to all of us. So yeah, that's just a few of my opinions on the situation. I'd love to hear your opinions. And yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, and then please hit subscribe down below. It's in red, and then next to it you'll see a little bell, so press that if you'd like to receive notifications, and then share this with anyone who you think would enjoy this. And of course, if you'd like to see the other episodes in the series so far, I think there's probably going to be 14. If there are 14 principles, there'll be 14 episodes, and this one's the 4th one. So if you want to go see the other 3, there's a playlist on 44's channel, so just go look at it there and you'll see. But thanks guys for watching. Hope you have a terrific day or night wherever you are, and I'll see you next weekend with a new video. Bye guys!